All right, I want to do a worldwide narrative campaign where you get to play and have influence over the story. I'm Matthew from Mini Wargaming, and if you have been following Mini Wargaming for the past few years, you know that we've done lots of narrative campaigns, and I love doing narrative campaigns. I think I've written the rules to over 60 of them so far, and it's been a lot of fun. It's just something I love about wargaming is telling a good story. And after I went to the Grand Narrative, this huge event that Games Workshop puts on a yearly basis, this one had almost 400 people at it that all played not to try to see who could win a competition or a tournament, but to tell a story. And I left there thinking, man, I really wish that I could run one of these. And I just don't really have the resources to bring 400 people all together and run this huge event. But I thought, you know what I could do, though, is we can harness the power of the internet and make a worldwide online narrative campaign. Now, I'm going to give you all the details in more detail in a link below. I already have it all written out. It'll be easier than explaining it here. But I want to go over some of the ideas, and so you can kind of see what's going to be happening. But the registrations are open today. There is a fee to join, but it is free for Vault members. So you can sign up to be a Vault member today and get it for free, or you can just pay the cost and enter. And then what's going to happen is we're going to start roughly in April of this year. I don't have an exact date yet because we're still working out all the details. But what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 rounds that are 3 weeks long each. So the whole thing will take roughly 18 weeks. And the way that it works is in each round you have 2 weeks to complete your game or games. You can at least get a minimum of 1 game in, and you can play more games if you have people that need to play a game. So there's a limit to how many games you can play per round. And you technically don't even have to play every single round. If you want to skip a round or you don't have time, that's okay too. There's no you get disqualified or anything like that. You just don't get to influence that part of the story. So 2 weeks for you to play, and then we collect the results. And then the 1 week is off while we tally the results, determine how it influences the story, make new narrative videos for it with instructions for the next one, update you with scenarios, and then we have another round. And we do that 6 times, and then we kind of see where the state of things is at the end. It's not really like a winners versus losers, although it might be that there's a certain faction that wins, but it's more like where does the story go and where does it end up? So I want to show you a couple things and then talk more about how the whole thing is going to work. So here's some quick behind-the-scenes images of the 5 planets that we are going to be fighting on. We're going to be doing this in the Drakenfell system. If you're wondering if I've heard that word before, well, it's because I've been using the Drakenfell world in a bunch of narrative campaigns. Right now we have the Death Watch Drakenfell campaign going out, which is actually a prequel to what is going to happen. So I'm going to be careful not to give away the ending, because we've filmed it already, but it's not yet out. And so I'm not going to tell you certain things that are happening. So there's going to be details I'm going to leave out on purpose, as you'll see. So there's 5 different worlds. And these are using the Hex and Hills line of 3D printable hexes to make these worlds. And they actually, this is a bit of a preview, because they have an upcoming Kickstarter for their sci-fi tiles. So I don't know if you've already seen all their fantasy ones. Like this is the map of the old world that we did, and I've done other ones too. But a lot of people have been asking for sci-fi ones, and so they have delivered. So we've got really cool ones, like obviously Hive City ones, and emplacements, and generators, and other stuff like that. So this is the world of Drakenfell. It's an agro world, and it's responsible for feeding dozens of other worlds and systems nearby. And then we have a hive world, obviously, a couple moons, and then a bit of a mystery. I'm not going to talk too much about this one, because it's a bit of a spoiler if I do. But the idea is every round, 1, 2, maybe 3 of these will be the battlegrounds, and you can choose which one you're going to fight on. You can play at least 1 game on each battleground. And like I said, if you want to play more, you just have to find somebody to play against. Now, there are obviously some obstacles of doing an online, worldwide narrative campaign, one of them being you guys being able to find players. And so what we're allowing is that you don't have to just play in person, but you can also play using Tabletop Simulator. And so we're going to have a whole Discord, part of our Mini Wargaming Discord server set up so that you guys can arrange games and talk about it there. And that way you can play online if you want to, or you can play in person if you have a group of people that you all want to sign up. But each person that plays does need to be signed up, because we want to eliminate as much cheating as possible, which we're going to be eliminating most of it because of a few things. One, we're charging entry. So if you're going to pay to come in and post false results, well, I guess that's the same as like lying about how many points are on your list or something like that. And second thing is that both players have to verify that the game is correct. So one player will input the game and they'll put in the other player's tag, and then that player has to log in and verify that that game is correct. And until both players verify it, the game will not count towards the results. And so, you know, I guess if one person can buy 2 tickets and then go through and mess with the results, but I think very, very few people would want to do something like that and mess around with it. So we should be able to keep the results rather clean and as honest as they can be. Now, there are 3 factions, and they're not exactly what you would think. If you've gone to a grand narrative, you know they normally do Imperium, Chaos, and Other, like Xenos kind of gets all bunched together. But this one, the factions are a little more spread out in a way that you might not expect. Some of them are roughly what you expect. So we have the Defenders of the Imperium, we have Chaotic Uprising, and the Tyrannic Invasion, the Cult of the Ascendant Strand, which is the Genestealer cult. And so on the Imperium side, you have all the Imperium stuff minus Imperial Guard and AdMech. And I'm not going to tell you exactly why for those, just because some spoilers to Deathwatch Drakenfell. Some of them are going to be obvious. Some of them are actually Genestealer Cultists, and so they're going to be grouped over there. But you also have some of the Xenos factions. You have Necrons, you have all the Aeldari, Drakari, and Votann, I believe. It's all at the link below. We'll give you the details. They're helping out the Imperium. They all have their own goals, but they all happen to align. So it's like allies of convenience. And then you have the Chaotic Uprising, which is all chaos, obviously, plus Traitor Guard. So that'll be Imperial Guard players who want to side with Chaos. So it doesn't change your rules. You just play Imperial Guard, but you're helping Chaos. And Orks will be there too. And then there's also Necrons there as well, but focused on Destroyer Cult and Flayed Ones. Once again, not going to go into too many details yet, just because there might be some spoilers. And then lastly, we have the Cult of the Ascendant Strand, which, as you can guess, is Tyranids and Genestealer cults. But it's also Imperial Guard and AdMech and Tau. Sorry, Tau is actually in Defender of the Imperium as well. But you can have AdMech, Imperial Guard, and Tau who want to fight for that. So they represent ones that have been infested by the Genestealer cult. And I based this off of a survey I did about what people would want to play and tried to spread them out as equally as possible. But it's okay if the factions don't have all the same number of people. Because in this case, the way it'll work, like I said, I'll repeat it one more time, is that you play your game, but then you can play more games if you are playing against somebody who has yet to have played a game on that battleground. And what that means is that those people who there's more people in their faction, they'll on average play less games. So if I have less people in the Tyranid faction, for example, the Cult of the Ascendant Strand, then those people will be able to play more games because they could find more people who haven't been able to play yet. Once again, you're not committed to any certain number of games, and so it's just going to kind of come out hopefully in the wash. If you are playing with a bunch of local people, you're going to have to work with them. If you're playing in the Tabletop Simulator, then you should have lots of opportunities to find people because it's all online. It's not going to be without its challenges. I do plan on putting up more information of this over the next couple months. We're going to put up the narrative intros. I'm going to take better pictures of these planets and talk more about what they are. Just waiting, like I said, for the Deathwatch campaign to be over. And the Deathwatch campaign is actually free. We're putting early access each week to Vault members. But because it is a prequel to all of this, then we wanted to make sure that it was free for you to be able to watch, so you can get some of the information if you're really interested in diving into the lore. Watching the previous campaigns, though, is not required, even though the past couple of Apocalypse games and this Deathwatch game and a few of my beat map bat reps actually all have influenced the current story. You don't have to watch them because you'll be caught up to date with some lore blurbs and things that'll let you know exactly what is going on. Now, like I said, in order to play, there's going to be a registration form, which I'll put below, but you either need to buy a ticket or you need to be a Vault member. Even if you're in the trial version of being a Vault member, you can still sign up. If you do sign up as a Vault member, then you need to continue to be a Vault member throughout the campaign if you want to participate. Whereas if you buy the ticket, then you just you have full access to it, whether or not you are a Vault member. So it's kind of up to you. If you want to be a Vault member, get access to all the other stuff, discount codes, all the extra videos that we do, all the the dozens and dozens of narrative campaigns that we've put up, and just help support us in general, then that's great. But otherwise, just buy the ticket. Now, we do have some special swag as well if you want to upgrade, and it'll include objective markers and measuring widgets and t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. But I won't talk about that too much here. You can just look at that below. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put a comment below, and I'll try to answer as many as I can in a timely fashion. But I'll try to answer a couple of them right here. One of them might be, well, how many points do we play at? And it'll allow for anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 points. So the scenarios will be written with that in mind, that you might be playing at 1,000, 1,500, or 2,000 points. If you choose to play more than 2,000 points with your opponent, that's fine. There won't be the scenario specifically written for that, but that's okay. You can choose to play at higher points. We're not doing Kill Team this time, just because I'm not familiar enough with it to be confident in writing rules and extra scenarios for it, but it might be something I'll add in later. Or I guess if tons and tons of people sign up and there is high demand for it, then I'll consider putting in that extra work for it as well, because this is already a lot of work. Another thing would be, actually, no, that's the main thing, is how many points. Oh yeah, Crusade rules. If you can use the Crusade rules to upgrade your guys. And the answer is absolutely. You can choose to, you can choose not to. But if you choose not to, and your opponent is doing them, then you do, it'll have a little provision there for you to get a few extra command points throughout the game. Yeah, you totally can choose to do Crusade rules either from the core rule book or from one of the other books, and upgrade your guys as they go along and do agendas and things like that. So that is totally up to you. But I think that's it. So all the details, like I said, there'll be heavier details in the link below, and I'll even update it too as you guys ask questions in the comments, because there is an FAQ on that page as well. And I'll link the ticket purchase as well as registration page will be down there too. So I hope you guys will join in. I think it'll be awesome. I think that it'll be really neat to play with all of you guys and see everybody submit their games and see how that changes the story. Because it's one thing I really like to do in narrative campaigns, is make sure that what happens in the game has an impact on the story. So consider joining. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, and happy wargaming.